Hello, my friends, and welcome to the channel. My name is Ryan Abair, and this is where I share my insights. And today I'm asking, so you want to make a difference in the world? And I say to that, be careful what you ask for, because you are asking to shake things up when you want to make a difference. It's not that it's bad to want to make a difference. It's just understand what you're getting yourself into. Stick around. We often hear people say, or you may have even thought to yourself, boy, I would really like to make a difference in the world. You are making a difference in the world. Even if you say, I'm just a peacemaker. I'm just here to keep the peace. I don't want to bother anybody. But you are a bother. You are a difference maker. Like a buzzsaw. And your life and your presence on the planet is cutting through the singularity. Even if you go in a cave and don't bother anybody, there is a difference being made in some subtle way. And Jesus, of course, he understood this, and he said, I didn't come to make peace. I came to drive a sword, to bring mothers against daughters and fathers against sons and that sort of thing. Jesus came to make a difference, and he was a rabble-rouser and got murdered for it. So someone could say, oh, he brought that upon himself. So difference makers, they look at the world and they see a so-called problem and they want to make a difference. They want to show people. Well, how do you show people the error of their ways, the problems, without pissing people off? Because everything you say, everything we say in words is going to cut through the singularity and create a north and a south side, an us versus them. Of course, in the kind of insights I'm talking about, we realize there is a synonym present in all antonyms. Duality is self and other are the same. There's a sameness that comes through it. However, when you make a difference, when you, especially in the kinds of things I'm trying to talk about, you insinuate there's something wrong. As well-meaning as all these spiritual teachers are, as they speak, there's an insinuation. There is a problem. Right? Eckhart Tolle has spent most of his life singing about the problematic ego. Is it a problem? It is if you turn it into one and you speak about it as if it is. See, there's an insinuation. But there is great truth in it. It's a great truth to be a difference maker, because you insinuate something. And the word insinuate comes from a root, which, if you break it down, the root word of insinuate means to introduce tortuously. You know, in that show, Ted Lasso, they picked up on this. And I've said this before, but the lady that Ted Lasso's working with, his counselor, she says, Ted, the truth is going to set you free, but it's going to piss you off first. That's what that means. It hurts to know that at some deep level you are implicit in every single thing you say and do. And you can't get out of it. So you might as well just enjoy it. It's difficult for me to sit here and talk about the virtues of love and patience and kindness when I have displayed the opposite in my life. I'm just as guilty as the things I am pointing out in the world. But that's what helps us learn, is what's called first-hand experience. That is the only experience firsthand. I'm giving these insights are second-hand experiences. They are mere skeletons of the truth, which eventually does set you free. I've said this before because it's fresh on my mind, but Teddy Roosevelt was the one who said that if you could kick in the pants the one who's causing you all of your trouble, you wouldn't sit for a month. See, this is what's so hard, is that we are creating our own so-called trouble. And by saying that, it creates more trouble. But it is the only way to get people to start moving outside of the conceptual mind. Is living in the conceptual conditioned mind a problem? If you want it to be, if you see it as one, I know that I, for example, was most unhappy being trapped in the conceptual mind. I was. And I couldn't figure out the freedom. The freedom is to live in an unconditional way, an open way. Okay. What does that mean? That means you discover that you trap yourself in a mental construct of reality. Like, this is how things should be. You want to think of it as models of the world, models of what we call reality. And the reality seems very shifty to the person who has a concept of how it should be. And that's what makes God seem sinister and capricious to people. They get their heart set on something, and the reality does something different. No, reality doesn't do anything different. It's just that our models are still structure of model, our papier-mâché version of people, things, processes. Our papier-mâché version of the world is stagnant and dead and rigid. And then the world is alive and moving and evolving and growing, and it is just a continual process. And all of a sudden we're shocked, you see, because we can't pin down aliveness. And essentially, you are an aliveness, a process, an evolving thing that once snapshotted is dead. It's like a photograph. Our models of reality are nothing but still images that do not have life. And we do this with people. Boy, did I ever do this with people. Build a model of a person. Give a few thumbnail biographical sketches. Reduce them to a word like pitiful. And there you have it. I've covered it. I've covered it. But you can't cover the subject. The subject is exposed. Think about it this way. If you write a book, can you cover the subject from cover to cover? Can you put if I were to write a book about music, because I'm a musician, say I write a book about music, am I writing a book about what music is in totality? No. That's not the subject of the book. The subject of the book can't be covered. The subject of the book remains naked, uncovered. That's because the subject cannot be an object. part of the subject can be an object, which is what we are in physical form. We are part object. But the subject can never be covered in words, labels, concepts. The subject is king, and we're all the subject. We're all the subject. And we keep trying to point to the subject, and the minute you point to the subject, it becomes an object. Well, subject and object depend on each other. They have this strange relationship. There is no subject without object, and there's no object without subject. But we are just enough object to pick up on this askew relationship. That the objective part of me, that tiny sliver which allows you to recognize me as something different than you, it's not enough to cover who I am. Who are you? As if I can tell you in a little YouTube video. You are an abstraction that's growing and changing and effervescent and wiggling around. I can't pin you down, P-I-N, with an opinion. See that? It's like a cage. This is my opinion of you. I caught you. I trapped you. And you wiggle right out of my trap. See, you are making a difference. Because I can't pin anybody down. I can't define you. I can't confine you in a description. Nor can I do that with myself. And then you live with that openness that makes reality feel wiggly, but it's not. We are wiggly. The concepts are wiggly. Fiddly little skeletons that are trying to cover the subject. But the subject is always exposed. Always the complete and total truth in the silence. So you want to make a difference in the world. Good. Just remember that's going to bring contrast, criticism, praise, trouble. But you realize that's all me. I'm dredging that up. I'm bringing that into my path. Difference. Well, when was difference invented, if you will? The Big Bang. The Big Bang. The one became many. That was a difference-making event, which was preceded by what science calls a singularity. Well enough was left alone. Then well enough wanted to make a difference. Boom. That's your destiny. So go ahead and make a difference. But in the right kind of spirit. Knowing what you're getting yourself into, your presence is going to create ripples in the universe. And if you say things, you're going to create ripples in the universe. Don't you think for 1 second Jesus didn't have his critics, or Eckhart Tolle, or all these people who were trying to do something good? Let me point out to you the flaw, so-called flaw of the ego. Let me point out to you how destructive spiritually unconscious people are. How can I do that when people who are spiritually unconscious don't even know it? You see. And you tell somebody who has a rigid sense of themselves as a concept, you tell them, you aren't real. Those are fighting words. And so they'll come out with their dukes up. It's all part of the course. It's all part of the schematic. Makes you not want to make a difference in the world, but you can, because difference in that sense is playful. You see? You will make a difference in the world. You are making a difference in the world. Why not just go for it? Do your best to expose the subject. It's already exposed. Do your best to make it into an object and see how well that works. Even spiritual teaching is objectifying the subject. And there it is, exposed. It's always the subject. But in that subject-object relationship, one of the two has to be a little bit pseudo. Not quite, something that quite add up about the form, about the individual me. And you pick up on this because you realize in duality, there is no difference between what we perceive as the outer world and the inner world. I don't know if this three-dimensional space outside of my eyes and body is really not me. I can't really tell unless I could get out of the body. And even so, I'm still in the universe. To really get a sense of how limited relativity is, we can't get out of the universe to see the universe from the so-called outside. There is none. All that wackiness makes you realize, okay, so difference is an illusion of existence. There's got to be part of me that's unreal, timeless, dead, extinct, omniscient, omnipresent. And unlimited. And I stand in the middle, somehow, with 1 foot outside of time and 1 foot in time, 1 foot alive and 1 foot dead. 1 foot in the world, 1 foot out of the world. And all these differences come together in the spiritually awakened person who doesn't know he or she is sleeping until this shift happens. And then when it happens, there is no longer the former self, so it's like there is no awakening. I know I'm getting into all this weird stuff, but you simply awaken to the difference. You own up to it. You own up to the straddling the difference once you understand good and bad coexist in harmony. Negative and positive coexist in harmony. And there's no difference. The difference is made, positive and negative on a battery, charged up. You want to make a difference? Do it. You already are. And those who make the biggest difference seem to make these big impacts, charged up, because they understand duality, what we call duality. But really they understand the subject because they are the subject, and they don't try to cover it. I think that's it for today, and I appreciate your attention. And if you enjoyed my insights, my name is Ryan Hebert, and I would encourage you to check out my blog. It's called mymorningmotivator.com, and we will see you next time.